What's up, everybody? This is the Freaky Geek Podcast. We're down here at the Red Lion Grog House in Fountain Square. We've got Scott Blake here with us. He is a costume artist and special effects artist. What's up, Scott? Glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here. Actually, I am so glad to be here. I brought you gifts. This is the Psycho Zombie Hulk.
Nice. Are they both the same, or do they have different eyes missing?
Actually, no, they're both the same.
No, they're both the same. Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, go scare the hell out of them kids.
It's great work, guys. You got a Facebook page or anything? How can we find you on the interwebs?
You can search Scott Blake on Facebook. You can search Your Dream Creations on Facebook. Also, search for Ghost Indiana for the band Ghost. You'll learn about that later.
All right, guys. We'll put the links up on our website. Be sure you come and check this shit out. First, we do the usual suspects, and basically we just go through and ask all the general questions that anybody with no information or knowledge about special effects would ask. So why don't we start with your company, Your Dream Creations, and where you came up with that name?
The name. Well, I started out, I used a business name, just something that was totally different, and I'm not even going to mention it because I don't want to plug somebody, because if you Googled the name, millions of things came up. And I was like, I'm never going to be found that way. So I thought, I need to come up with something more original other than Scott Blake, blah, blah, blah. So a friend of mine was working on my website, and he had something on there that said something about making your dreams come true. And I thought, that's kind of cool. And so I took your and dream and put it together to spell your dream. You know, it's spelled differently. And a lot of people still have a problem finding it because they spell it, you know, Y-O-U-R-D-R-E-A, whatever. Yeah. But if you type in Your Dream
with 2 E's,
that's all you'll find is me. So,
nice. So you sort of like cut out your little niche corner of the internet for yourself.
Right? Yeah, pretty much.
Excellent. So next question I got to ask you is about your eyes, man. You wear those things every day, or is that just look into the camera real quick so everybody at home can see? And you wear those every day, or just for special events? Just
my
in October?
Yeah. I wear my eyes every day. Yeah.
Every day, okay. Yeah. So are those contacts, or did you get them tattooed like that?
Yeah, contacts.
Okay. And so they're like regular contacts? I don't have contacts, so I don't know.
They're just, they're not a prescription. Yeah. It's just that, actually these are a cheap pair that I probably shouldn't be wearing because I'll be blind tomorrow.
Okay, so the cheap pairs, like the cheap ones will hurt your eyes or mess your eyes up?
Actually, don't buy cheap contacts because they're bad for you.
So when you say cheap, it's like 20, 40 bucks?
Yeah.
So you should spend 100, 150?
I'm saying, I mean, 60 bucks and up.
Okay.
You know, it.
And is there any material they should be made out of that makes it more?
I don't know about that.
You don't know about that? Okay.
I just wear them. I don't know how they're made.
Okay. All right. So, of all these creations you have around us, is there any one in particular that's your favorite that you'd like to talk about, or?
Well, she's a crowd favorite.
Okay.
Everybody likes Karen.
Kind of looks like you killed a real doll.
You got one of those?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I've seen them on TV.
Yeah. No, it's she's made of silicone.
Okay.
Totally flexible. Actually, I was just kind of messing around in the studio one day with some extra silicone that I had, and I had this mold of this model. Actually, her name is Mina V.
So it's an actual person's face.
Yeah.
They used.
Yeah. But I was just messing around with some silicone that I had, and I came up with this, and it was the first time I made, a silicone head, and to look realistic, and it turned out great. And people, I put a picture on the internet or on Facebook or something like that, and people went nuts over it. I actually had to delete and block a guy because he was so upset that I was posting pictures of Karen's head because of the whole ISIS thing going on.
Oh, yeah.
Which, that's horrible, but this is what I do for a living, so don't jump on my back because I'm posting this.
Yeah, it's not like you dressed up as...
Right, I'm not wearing a robe and a hood and all that, but, it's special effects, and so this is a crowd favorite. I took her to Days of the Dead when I had a booth there, and everybody wanted to poke at her, and But as far as something that I've done that I really like, that would have to be Gnawbone.
Gnawbone? He's pretty creepy looking.
Yeah.
So did you intentionally put this as like slobber between his teeth here? They probably can't see it there, but...
Yeah. Actually, it was for the film Gnawbone, which is actually being filmed now. They have 1 day left.
Okay.
They sent me the sketches of what they wanted and explained to me what Gnawbone was, what kind of creature he was.
But you can't tell us, right? Because it hasn't come out yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
You can tell me once the cameras are off, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they sent the sketches over, and I did the sculpt. And once they approved the sculpt, then I made the suit, the full suit, for the film. And I can tell you, it takes place in the woods, and it kills people.
And you're actually in the film also, right?
Yes, I am. Actually.
Is it a full screen rule, or is it just sort of like a...
Well, you know how every horror film has that one crazy guy or crazy woman,
Or both?
Yeah. That I forget what they call them, but they're always the crazy one that jumps out of the bushes and says, "You're gonna die." That was my role.
Nice.
Basically, I'm warning people. You can't go in the woods, and because he'll get you.
But nobody listens to you, obviously.
What's that?
Nobody listens to you, obviously. They all
Right.
get killed.
Oh yeah. There's more to the story, and it's actually a good story. I mean, the movie was made to be like an '80s monster movie.
Okay.
It takes place in the '80s. Everyone's dressed in '80s clothing and '80s hairstyles.
So it's kind of like Creepshow or one of those older...
Yeah. Not as corny, but...
I don't know, that one, the Wraith or the Raft, whichever one it was called, that blob's floating on the lake and it comes and kills everybody?
Yeah.
That wasn't corny. That was scary as hell when I was a kid.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, that's kind of what this is going for. I mean, it's going for the 80s vibe, of the monster in the woods type thing. It's all the special effects are real special effects. There's no CGI.
Right.
So if you see blood, then you're actually seeing liquid fly through the air. You're not seeing some computerized crap.
Yeah. So basically you didn't go in after everything was over and then just paint over everything.
Right, yeah. Which is why they came to me to have that made, because they didn't want a CGI'd monster. I mean, they could have, but it just doesn't have that same feel.
I'm not against painting over stuff, but I think like even The Walking Dead, I feel like they've got a little bit lazy lately in the last couple seasons. They just paint over everything.
Yeah.
Like the zombies aren't, like if you watch the first season, the zombies were real.
Yeah.
And now they're sort of like, oh, we'll paint over in production, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I think CGI and the virtual effects or not virtual effects. The word lost.
CGI?
Well, CGI, I think they can work together. But too much CGI, like there's movies out now that's just all CGI, the whole thing.
That's horrible.
And it's just, I mean, that type of thing just, it's not real enough.
Yeah.
If you have something there that the actor can see,
right.
you get
Even
a better
if it's
reaction.
not up to par, it's like they're making an effort. I feel like more. Like if you're watching something and you see like a crease in a zombie or something, it's not the worst thing ever. Is if you just had a CGI zombie.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, because that's going to look fake too.
Right. Yeah. So, but I think you can use CGI just to help out some, here and there. But yeah, I'm all for practical effects because it just has that certain feel. And yeah, it doesn't matter how good of an actor you have. If they're looking at a blank wall trying to be scared of this monster, it's just not going to be the same.
Right.
So, yeah, I was like super happy when they came to me and said, we want a real monster.
Yeah, and how do they find you exactly? Just through your website or word of mouth?
Actually, I worked with the cinematographer, Joe Saylor. I worked with him before, and when he was going to work with them, and he brought up my name, and they got a hold of me, and from then on, it was just, let's go, let's make it.
Yeah. So, how many films have you done now? Excuse me.
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know.
Roughly like 10, 15, or?
Everything that I've done is basically locally, like Indiana. 7 or 8, I guess.
You get like a lot of requests for different haunted houses and stuff like that go on during October, or?
I get requests for a lot of different things, and a lot of times I don't know what they're for. If somebody says, "Can you make me a severed head?" Okay, I'll hear. And it could be for a haunted house. It could be for their family room.
Yeah.
So I have a customer that has one of these heads in their family room just because.
Nice.
So I mean, it could be anything.
Okay.
But I have done some stuff that's had like international type stuff and probably worldwide. I don't know. St. Pete Clearwater ran an ad a few years ago that was in magazines and billboards and stuff that had
Spider-Man's walking a dog.
some
Sorry.
wardrobe.
There's like a squirrel carrying a diamond. I could not look at that. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Sorry, go ahead.
But I've done some stuff that showed up in magazines and billboards and TV commercials and stuff like that. But as far as film goes, it's all been local. But anybody that wants to hire me, I'll travel.
Exactly. So he is looking for work, people. Keep that in mind. So how is it that you got into this? Did you start like as a kid, sort of like filming scary movies at your house, or did you just?
Actually, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a rock star.
I think we all did, though, didn't we?
Oh yeah. I started playing drums when I was 10, and then up through my mid to late 20s, I played drums in bands around Indianapolis and like the surrounding states. I got married, had kids, blah blah blah.
Right.
Had to get a real job and all that. But I joined an entertainment group in Florida. They were a pirate-themed entertainment group, and so I made my own costume for this thing. And they did, parades, parties, corporate events, all kinds of stuff like that. And it was, I had lots of fun. I got to travel, all over the place. But I kept making these costumes, and then other people would ask me to make them, and it kind of snowballed.
Okay.
And the next
so it
thing
wasn't
I
something
knew,
you were looking to get into; it just sort of fell into your lap.
it was an accident. It turned out that I was making more money doing that than I was at I had a corporate position for over 10 years. I was making more money in my spare time than I was at that. So I quit and started doing this full time. And then from there, it just, went from pirate costumes to just any kind of costume to any kind of prop to now this, and now that guy right there is like going nuts on the internet right now.
Okay. So and this is actually from like a singer of a band, is that correct?
Yes, that is Papa Emeritus 2, or the second, from the band Ghost.
All right.
And
We'll
I'm actually
put all the links to the Ghost, some of their videos, and to the movie, and it'll be on our page, so you guys can check them out. But
yeah. So yeah, they actually have a new mask because there's the singer, and then the rest of the band has a different mask that I'm actually molding tomorrow. That's like it's going to be huge.
are you putting that up on your website as well?
Yeah.
Send us the links, and we'll put the links up so you can get some more traffic.
Definitely.
Everybody can check it out. All right. So, what about Larry here?
Larry?
Did he get thrown in acid? What happened to Larry? What's his story?
Well, Larry was just one of those projects that I was bored. I thought, what can I do with this plastic skeleton I got at Kroger? Which, at Kroger, he was a lot cheaper looking. So I ended up making him look a little scabby.
Yeah. What is that actually made out of, his skin?
It's actually, it's called corpsing. Basically, you can take plastic bags, you can take black plastic bags or even clear. I used a plastic sheeting that was a real thin, clear plastic. You just kind of wrap it around, and then you use a heat gun and melt it down so it kind of shrink wraps.
Okay.
And then you can use shoe polish, wood stain, paint.
So you just sort of find your own mix.
Yeah.
For what you're looking for.
And then, so he's just been kind of been like the studio mascot.
So I do have to ask you a couple more questions before we get off this topic, but what does your house look like on Halloween? Are you that guy that has the scariest fucking neighbor, or scariest house in the neighborhood? or?
Actually, no. A lot of people, it's funny because a lot of people think that like my house would be like the big spooky house on the hill with the fog machines and flames coming out of the top windows. And like a lot of people also think that I probably attend every mask or horror or anime or whatever convention there is, which I've only been to 2 conventions. I had a booth at one of them. And on Halloween, I don't decorate because I'm doing this stuff up until like the 28th. And then even on the 28th, I'm packing it and shipping it express to get it there the next day.
So basically, you're so busy during October, you don't really have time to fix
Halloween,
up your own house. Or
Halloween, it's still my favorite part of the year, but it used to be like my time to have lots of fun until I started doing this, and now I got to work up till like the day before, and then when Halloween comes, I just want to sit there. I just want to grab a beer
sit down and relax.
And just sit there and not do anything.
Just turn the porch light off and eat all the candy yourself.
We have done that, yeah. Yeah.
I think we've all done that once or twice. So, all right, guys, we are going to break right now. The Geek is going to interrupt us with his special segment, per usual. I'm not sure what he's doing this week yet, guys, so you'll have to watch and see, but judging from what I saw this past Friday, it's going to be pretty good, so make sure you check it out.
Decryption successful.
Hey, it's the Geek Tips right here. Tonight we're going to talk about how to make edible blood for Halloween. So that's how to do this.
Okay, so if you look online about how to make fake blood, there's tons of recipes. I mean, tons of recipes. So there's tons of recipes, and it could involve anything, anything and everything. But a lot of people want a blood that you can put in your mouth,
Right.
that's safe, that you can put in your mouth that tastes good, or at least doesn't taste bad.
So like the Cairo stuff's completely out.
Well, I mean, Cairo syrup, that doesn't really have flavor. It does, but doesn't.
It's a lot of sugar though.
Yeah, but, and you also don't want it to stain.
Exactly. That's
Especially
a lot of people I get.
in a film, because you get it on your actor, it's going to stain their skin, and then you're screwed, because you go to the next scene where there's no blood and they have this red stuff, stained on their face, and you have to write in the script, oh, they have a birthmark. So anyway, I don't know if anyone else uses this recipe, but I came up with a recipe that you can use that doesn't stain. It might stain, but if you let it sit, it's going to stain, obviously. But you can spray this on a white cabinet, in a kitchen, and it's not going to stain. You can wipe it off, and it's perfectly fine. And it tastes really good.
That's the key. So
That's the key.
How do we get this thing going?
So, you start with strawberry syrup that you make your strawberry milk with. Okay? So you put that in your container, and that's what you're going to use as your main
That's my
ingredient.
favorite, by the way. That's like 90% of the milk that I drink is
90% of the
Yeah.
milk that you drink.
Yes,
Okay.
it's strawberry.
Then you take your chocolate. Now, one thing that I found out is if you go to the dollar stores, the off-brands,
Yeah.
they're a little more thinner. So, because if you go with the name brands, they're a little thicker. And blood, it has a thickness to it, but it's not real thick. It's not stringy. So, if you go to the cheaper stores and buy the off-brand chocolate and strawberry, it's a little bit thinner. Even though it has a thickness to it, it's not stringy. So, you can start with your red, your strawberry, and you add just a little bit of chocolate. And you kind of got to play with it because different brands, mix differently.
Right.
But you mostly the strawberry and a little bit of chocolate, and you shake that up. That looks good to me right there.
Check that out.
Now it depends on what you're going to use it for, because like in film, if you're doing an extreme close-up in HD, then you want to make sure you formulate that perfectly.
Right.
But if you're doing like your haunted porch on Halloween, you want to spray somebody with blood, then that's probably good. I mean, this is probably actually good for film. I mean, look at that.
That does look, it looks better than any of the other recipes that I've ever come up with.
Right. So I think the only way to know for sure is to test it.
All right.
Okay, now do a little Gene Simmons for us. Yeah.
So, definitely an awesome, and it tastes really, really good. Check it out. Chocolate milk, or strawberry syrup, chocolate syrup, mixed together. Oh yeah.
Good stuff.
That's it for the Geek Tips. We're out.
What's up, everybody? The Geek just showed you how to make fake blood for Halloween. Can you believe you actually fucking ate some of it? He's got issues, man. So, we're back here with Scott Blake again. He's responsible for all of these awesome things, especially Ghost here. You were saying something earlier about you're like head of the Ghost fan club chapter of Indiana?
Yeah. Actually, I'm wearing the Ghost American Ministries shirt.
Okay. Kind of looks like Papa Shango. You know, you ever watch professional wrestling back in the day?
Yeah. Actually, people ask me, is that what that is?
Really?
No.
Man, I thought I was being original.
No, but anyway, it's there's like the American, the large American fan page for Ghost, which is the Ghost American Ministries. I forget how many members there are now, but it's growing and growing and growing. Ghost is like just becoming like this huge thing now.
So for some of the people at home who haven't heard of Ghost, what would be a good video or song that they could actually pull up on YouTube?
Wow. You can't ask me that because I listen to their 3 albums like continuously all day.
As far as video quality, one that's gonna like would blow someone's mind if they haven't heard of them or seen any of their footage.
Wow. Now see, you're gonna run into this question with my favorite horror movie, and I can't do that shit.
We're gonna get there next. We're gonna get there. You just say top 5. You don't have to label it to 1. Just ramble off 3 to 5.
Look for Pentacle to the Pit.
Okay.
They're not actually in that video. It's their official music video that they're not in, but it's a good song to start with.
Okay. Kind of like Blues Traveler when they made their first band. When they made their first video, they were afraid nobody would accept them because they were fat. So they had like actors play them as the band.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Maybe they weren't. No, I'm just saying Ghost was afraid.
No,
they were
these guys
fat.
are sexy.
Okay.
No, but actually, a good video to search for on YouTube are the Deezer studio sessions.
These are studio sessions.
They basically just went in the studio and played live, but it's a nice professional video that they did, but they played live for it. That shows you how well, how good of musicians that they are.
Okay.
So just look for that, and
right.
That's a good starter. If you don't know who Ghost is, go look for that, and I guarantee you, you're going to like something of them, if not all of it, because they're such they have their own sound, and I know everybody says that. Oh, they got their own sound, but they do, and it's something you just have to listen to understand.
So, being the president of their Indiana fan club, what is that?
Oh yeah, I started.
Sorry, I got you a little off track.
Yeah, I started to go. Basically, each state has a fan page on Facebook. It's kind of like if you have the Pope, at the what's it called?
Vatican?
Yeah, you have the Pope at the Vatican, and then you have all the cathedrals, so it's kind of like that. You have Ghost American Ministries, which covers the United States, and then each state has a fan page, and I manage the Indiana, or Ghost Indiana.
Okay. Do you have a link to that, or?
Yes, you can
How
put that
find
up.
that on Facebook?
Yeah, you can put that link up.
We'll put the link up for you
It'll
guys.
be on Facebook. Just look for Ghost Indiana, Ghost Indiana. It's brand new, so don't be discouraged because there's like 35 people on there. But
Come on, guys, blow it up. That's what he's looking
Yeah,
for. He needs more
we want them
members.
to come to Indiana because
to
they
YouTube.
skipped us on this tour.
Check out Ghost videos. If you like them, join the fan page.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to promote today while you're here? Your own website or any work you've done recently on any films or?
Let's see, we got Gnawbone. I'm doing some other film work, but it's actually pre-production right now, so I'm not going to bring it up yet.
All right.
I do custom latex masks.
So let's talk more about the latex stuff that you do. So did Ghost actually ask for you to make this, or did you make this for,
No, actually,
for them and then they liked it?
When I found the band, I was like, that is a cool mask. I would like to have that just for myself. So I started sculpting and I made the mold and you know, made the mask, and I posted a picture. And people went nuts over it because nobody was making them and selling them. And then I just, okay, I'll keep making them, and I've been selling them like crazy. One other guy made one before, but he doesn't make them all the time.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I guess I'll just start making them. And people are buying them up, and they want the rest of the band. You know, they have a different mask because they want that too. So I actually have the sculpt done. I'm getting ready to mold it tomorrow. I'm hoping to have the first pull out before Halloween, so one lucky person will get that.
Right. So you're doing that in a raffle, or you're just giving it away?
No, I won't give it away.
Hey, I gotta ask.
I'm poor. I'm just a special effects artist. No, actually, I think if I can get the first one pulled and get it out and ready, I'm going to put it on eBay, put it on auction, and for like 3 days, 2 days, I don't know how short I can do it, but just get whoever gets the best offer, you know, it's theirs. But then I'll have a set price for the rest of them. They can order on my website.
What does a mask like that usually go for? Roughly.
Well, that one sells for $180.
Okay.
The ghoul mask, which it's not latex, it'll be made of plastic.
Okay.
Or urethane. It's like kind of like a helmet, basically. They are in such high demand that I have to charge accordingly. So
Right.
the supply and demand is just it's nuts right now. I'm looking at like $350 a mask.
Okay. So going back to latex, I want to ask you just because I have an idea. But I want to ask you. What was the first movie that actually started using, the first horror movie that actually started using latex as like a serious prop?
As a serious prop. Do you know this?
I think they used latex before, but they started using this special dentistry latex when they did a Nightmare on Elm Street 3 or 4. And that was one where they had all the souls in Freddy's body and their faces were kind of like poking out through it.
What they call the dental dam,
Yeah.
basically, I think.
So
Yeah.
I remember I watched some special when I was like 12 or 13 when that movie came out,
Yeah.
about how they did all the special effects and everything. So if you look at his mask and his face and everything, his skin, from 3 or 4, whichever one it was previously, it's way worse than what it was. After the third one or the fourth one, his makeup got considerably better just because they found that method of actually doing it.
Silicone is something that, like, technically the original mask of Papa was made of silicone because silicone stretches a lot easier.
Yeah.
Latex stretches, but it's a little more firm. But silicone is a little more expensive.
So why don't they make condoms out of silicone would be my next question.
You said why don't they?
Yeah, if it stretches better, if it's more durable, it seems like it would make sense.
I don't know.
It's like they use silicone for implants, and that's in people for decades.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Maybe it's a friction issue. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah. Could be.
All right, cool. So, as far as these skulls, like,
These?
did you just paint those, or did you actually create the whole thing from the beginning?
These are actually from the dollar store.
Okay.
Actually, I just bought these as a quick decoration for my booth at Days of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
I painted them.
Right.
But-
So you just use airbrush, or
Actually, this is the quickest way to come up with something really cool looking as far as paint. I just painted them silver and gave them a black wash.
okay.
So, I mean, technically, this is how I will paint the ghoul masks tomorrow when I get that done.
Well,
They're
I'll tell
painted
you,
silver.
he needs at least one gold tooth, I think.
Yeah.
Just one, like the Mike Tyson era type gold tooth thing going there.
Jack Sparrow, yeah. Which we never even talked about that.
Which one?
Jack Sparrow. Okay, Jack Sparrow, I have to thank Johnny Depp. Thank you, Johnny Depp. He's kept me in business for 10, 11 years now.
Oh, because of the pirate stuff.
Because of the pirate stuff.
Okay.
Basically, I made a name for myself worldwide with the Jack Sparrow wigs and wardrobe, and I used to make the compass. I don't do that anymore. But yeah, before, I'd say like 3 years ago, if someone said Scott Blake, they'd say, oh, the pirate guy, the Jack Sparrow guy, because that's all I did. Or that's all people would pay me to do, because I did that so well. And, you know, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be doing this now, because I would have had to quit a long time ago and go get a job at Walmart.
Right.
You know.
So did you have to learn how to sew to make all these costumes, or?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I took a sewing class in high school.
Really? I think I did that in like middle school. I had to make a pillow or something.
Yeah. Well, see, my best friend and I, it might have been junior high, we'd smell the food they were cooking down in home ec. I mean, God, man, that smells good. And maybe we can just take the class and make the food, you know.
Yeah.
So we did, but the teacher said, okay, you can do it, but you have to take a semester of sewing too.
I see.
And we're like, man.
Yeah.
But we both played drums in band, and she said, I'll tell you what, you can make anything you want as long as you make one real clothing item. And we're like, okay. So I made this, I was playing in bands and stuff, and it was the 80s, right? So you wore like striped stuffed with rhinestones and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like Nikki Sixx in his black and white striped tights. So I made a black and white striped shirt with rhinestone buttons on it. And then after that, I was good to go. I made cymbal bags and drumstick bags and all kinds of crap like that. So just so that second semester I could cook and eat the food. So, yeah, I learned how to sew. I learned the basics in junior high. But then after that, when I got into it, making my own costumes, I had to relearn everything. But everything I do is self-taught.
Right.
So, because I can't afford to pay somebody to teach me. So,
I think they probably go to the community centers and stuff like that. They probably have free classes or something, maybe. I don't know. Look into it, folks. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
You're not gonna get the free class to learn how to do this.
No, for sure not.
Some little old lady at the gymnasium is not gonna say, okay, this is how you pour your silicone.
But I think for anything really cool like that, I think Mozart, he probably didn't have lessons or anything like that. But people who actually create art, it seems like nowadays, a lot of it's they just get into something and they kind of self-teach themselves things.
Well, a lot of people ask me, what can I do to learn to do this stuff? Just go to YouTube.
YouTube is a powerful tool now.
Everything is on YouTube. I'm not going to lie. Anytime there's something that I haven't done before, I go to YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'll look it up because it's there. And you can see people actually, like silicone work. You can watch people mix the silicone, how they use it with the mold, and what you can and can't use silicone on as far as molding. And then you can learn how to paint it. You can learn all the different techniques of different kinds of silicone. Like there's kinds that you can't use like this because it has to be encapsulated. So, but you can learn it all on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's just, if you don't have the money to go to those Stan Winston schools or whatever, like I don't.
Honestly, they have the Phoenix College for cars where they teach you to work on cars supposedly.
Right.
Allegedly. But in the commercial, it's always you're working on a drag car or an Indy car.
Yeah.
And so basically you can sort of look at those schools and figure they're probably kind of bullshit. But as far as the schools you're talking about,
Stan Winston.
Do you think those schools are actually really beneficial for the industry, or you think it's something where probably 100 kids go and 90 of them end up doing nothing with it?
Well, it's not bullshit. If you go to these schools, you're going to learn how to do this stuff. That's what you're going for. Now, as far as is that person that takes those classes and goes out into the world, are they actually becoming something? Who knows?
It's up to them, basically.
It's like you take the show Face Off. I've seen, or I've heard, I'm friends with a few people that have been on there, that are on there now, actually. Some people have been to schools like that, and then some haven't. I mean, some of them don't even do that for a living. They were doing something else. Like one girl was a cake decorator, and she decided to get into this, and she did great. She's awesome.
Have you ever thought about trying out for that show? Or signing up for it? I don't know how the process works.
I applied twice. The first time, I hadn't done any makeup, special effects much at all, and I know that's why I didn't make it then. Of course, and the second time that I did it was like 2 years later. I still haven't done that much makeup work. I don't get that many calls for that, so I haven't done that much because like stuff like this keeps me like totally busy. So that you got to have free time to do something new, and I don't have it. So I haven't done a whole lot of makeup stuff. Actually, if you look through this pamphlet, anything that you see in here that's makeup like that, or I don't see it. That, a bunch of things I've done specifically just because I needed content to give Face Off and say, here, this is what I've done. I actually tackled old age makeup for the last time that I applied because old age makeup is supposed to be one of the hardest things to do. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to do that because I don't have much for my portfolio, but if I come up with an old age makeup that looks good, then they got to at least, look at me and say, well, hell, if he hasn't done that much, but he did that.
Do you know how they did that in Back to the Future and The Exorcist?
Old age makeup?
Yeah.
Not specifically.
They used Elmer's glue.
Did they?
They put Elmer's glue on the actor's face and
Really?
they covered it with powder and makeup.
Yeah. It's basically, it's like, that's what you do with the latex or old age stipple.
Yeah, I'm not sure they had latex back in like 76, 77 was when The Exorcist
Yeah,
came
they
out?
had latex.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it probably wasn't used as widely. Like now it's like phasing out. Like nobody does latex except for like
So what's
masks.
replacing it now?
Silicone. I mean CGI, that CGI
yeah.
crap. No, but silicone is, because it's so flexible and it's more lifelike.
It'll move with the characters and the expressions of your face.
What's that?
It'll move with the characteristics and
Yeah,
your
you get
face.
facial expressions
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And and it wasn't like this type of latex that was being used for that. It was the foam latex, which is a bigger process than just doing that.
That's where they basically like wrap your whole head and they give you 2 straws to breathe out of for 5 minutes.
That's what you do when you're making a mold of someone. But like foam latex, it's a bigger process. You got to put it in a mixer and you have to time it and you have to add something for a certain amount of time and you pour it in a mold and then you bake it, and with that you just pour it and it sets.
Done.
And then silicone is it's like a 2-part thing. You mix it and you put it together and it sets on its own. You don't have to bake it. But go to YouTube and you'll figure out how to do it.
I usually remember the Thriller album when it first came out? I don't know
Yeah.
if you're too young for that or not.
Oh, yeah.
But some of the stuff that they did, even back then, probably, 1983, 1984, back when Michael Jackson, when MTV started taking off, I guess it's probably like 81 actually, 80, 81.
Yeah.
But they were doing stuff like that, back then, but.
Yeah, that was Michael Jackson's there was
Thriller.
Wolf Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was kind of like, I think they used kind of like the same thing when they did Beauty and the Beast, the TV show, if you ever saw that.
the TV show. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like basically the same makeup almost.
Yeah.
But, all right, we are going to turn this over to the Geek, and he's got his questions. So here comes his segment, Geek Questions.
Hey, it's the Geek right here, talking the geek questions, just like all of you want to know. Let's talk horror movies, because that's where I live in horror land.
Okay.
So I know we've talked before. You can't pin down your top, even your top 5.
God, I told you I couldn't do that either.
What movies are you watching right now? Like, what is the movie that catch you?
God. Okay, when I turn on my TV, and I turn on the satellite and I look at the guide, I'm usually just looking for anything in the horror genre to start with. My wife says otherwise, but that's what I'm looking for. I like watching The Walking Dead. Okay, that's as far as TV shows go. That's one that I sit down for every week.
Okay.
Okay, and I know we're talking about horror movies, but my other TV show is Face Off. It's got one more show and it's over with until the next time. But TV shows, I like watching The Walking Dead. And then movies, my favorites are the classics.
Right. So are you stuck in the 80s or are you talking about further back?
I'm not really stuck anywhere.
Well, I'm talking when you're like the classics. What do you think the
what are my
classics?
favorites? When I say classics, I'm talking like the original Frankensteins and Draculas and mummies.
That's my Halloween. I grew up.
Universal Monsters is. I mean, it's what started it all.
So when I grew up, my uncle we would sit down on Halloween night after trick or treating was done and all that. We would just spend the whole rest of the night watching Universal Monster movies.
Yeah.
So to this day, like with my son, I pull him in and we sit down after trick or treating. We sit down, and that's all we do is just watch Universal Monsters.
Yeah.
Love that stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, and there's still some. I mean, I'm not talking Universal Monsters, but the old black and white. There's still some that I have never even heard of that pop up, around the Halloween season. That what's that? I'll check it out, and I'll be like, I've never seen that before, and it's really cool.
See, I have to admit though, that sometimes, like weaning into the Halloween season, I'll watch the Abbott and Costello movies.
Oh yeah.
Like Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man, or The Mummy, or Frankenstein.
Right. Yeah.
I'll use that to wean myself into the Halloween because
Right.
it's just so much fun. Like the old school, classic, like black and white stuff. Just no matter what it is, it strikes me.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, when I turn on the satellite to see what's on, I don't look for the horror genre just during Halloween. I mean, that's any time of the year.
24/7.
It could be Easter. Right. And I'm like, what's horror genre? What's on for horror movies?
Is there an Easter horror? I know you got Santa, like Satan's, or was it Santa Slays and all that stuff out?
I don't know.
For Christmas.
I think I need to come up with something.
There you go.
Well, I know there's, gosh, I forget their name. I hate to try to plug them and not actually know their name, but there's a mask company that makes a really good, I don't know what it is technically, but it's a rabbit. I'm sure you
like the
saw
Donnie
it.
Darko style rabbit or something more creepy.
It's kind of a zombie rabbit type thing mask, but that would be good for a good Easter film.
Well,
I guess any kind of zombie film is
like zombie rabbits would be interesting.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, they multiply anyway, so just make them zombies.
Oh yeah. Multiplying zombie rabbits.
You heard it here first.
Right.
Yeah. But how much of a, like, if you look at like I don't know, 80s horror, are you a fan of, like, I mean,
Well, yeah, because I'm an '80s. I am a product of the '80s.
well,
I mean, when like all the bands I played in, I was the poster child for hair band from the '80s. But yeah, the '80s horror movies. It's weird because in the '80s, the horror movies, the popular stuff from the '80s was almost corny.
I mean, what, you got like Jason and Freddy, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
The stuff that I go to, what it's weird The ending of it anyway, like Sleepaway Camp.
You know what? I haven't seen that.
It is a twist ending.
Okay.
I will just tell you that just when you watch it. But it is one to watch. Like when you get out of that, there are so many, like Night of the Scarecrow and all the other stuff that like falls in that isn't quite mainstream popular in the horror thing.
Hey, I don't know why it just popped into my head. Some of my top 5 favorites. Jeepers Creepers.
Okay.
I like that. Of course, I like the Halloween movies, but everybody does, so that doesn't really count. Trick or Treat.
Which one?
Well,
so there's
not
two.
Gene Simmons. I mean,
Okay,
I
so
love that movie just because
Right.
Gene Simmons was in it, and it's not great acting or anything, but it was an awesome movie.
Right.
I mean, Sammy Kerr rocks. Okay, but the other Trick or Treat
I actually have
with Sam.
Sam tattooed on the back
Yes.
of my calf.
I believe it or not, I hadn't seen that movie until just this past year,
Really?
and I love that.
Dude, it's awesome. They're also coming out with Krampus this
Yeah.
year. This is what
Yeah.
they're working on instead of a
Right.
Trick or Treat 2.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I what is the deal with that? Why is that so popular now?
I think it's us horror people finally bleeding into Christmas. Christmas is bleeding into Halloween so much that we finally fought back.
Oh, okay.
And we were embracing anything. So it's the German celebration thing that I think we've all latched onto. It's like, finally, something creepy for Halloween or for Christmas.
Right. Okay.
That's how I see it.
That makes
I would
sense.
love to get a Krampuslost parade in central Indiana.
Yeah. You should work on that. I'll make one.
Okay.
And-
Well, we'll set it. I'll start talking to small towns all over central Indiana to try to figure out where we can have it.
That's gonna be rough.
We're going to kick it back to the freak. This is the Geek. I'm done with my geek questions, talking horror movies.
All right, guys, we are back here at the Red Lion Grog House in Fountain Square, talking to Chris about his mascot. I did this in the last section. I fucked the last section up every goddamn
Who
time.
the fuck is Chris? That's
He's
Chris.
You're Scott. I'm the freak, and we're moving forward with that. We might cut that out post. Who gives a shit? We'll leave it in. Anyway, so I wanted to mention, but I didn't want to interrupt you guys. We were talking earlier about scary Easter movies. I remember one time on cable when I was like 10. I think it was part of the like Attack of the 50-Foot Woman series movies where they did that. There was one where it was Attack of the 40-Foot Rabbit. And it was basically just this regular pet rabbit walking around on a claymation set, like eating things. And there was guys shooting machine guns at it. You know, it was clearly it was just like a movie screen playing behind it.
Right.
They were shooting the machine guns at it.
That's funny.
But I want to tell you guys about that. That's as close to like an Easter horror movie as I think I've ever seen.
Okay. If
We're
you think of
long,
the title, you're gonna have to let us know.
I saw it on cable when I was like 10. I didn't.
You're never
back then
gonna-
they only tell you the title of the movie, like if you see the very beginning.
They've probably burned it by now. I'm sure.
Oh, I bet Google will find that shit. I bet.
Or YouTube.
Or YouTube.
YouTube has everything.
YouTube's probably copyrighted. They probably pull that shit down off YouTube. But you can find it on Google for sure.
Right.
So, outside of that, I did want to ask you about, you mentioned the Friday the 13th movies. I've always been a big fan of those. But, as far as like newer horror movies, because they don't make a lot of good ones anymore,
Yeah.
the way that they used to.
It's like, and everything that you see in a commercial or the trailer is like, they throw all the interesting stuff in the trailer, and that's it.
Yeah.
You go to see the movie, and you're like, where's all the cool stuff? It's because they don't show you all they put all the cool stuff in the trailer and
Exactly.
suck you in. There really haven't been any really good horror.
So we've covered the best, but now let's cover the worst. The worst
Ooh.
recent horror movies, and I'm gonna have to say My Bloody Valentine right up there.
I don't know. Hey, Chris likes them.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it.
No.
My Bloody Valentine, the miner guy.
Yeah.
That's that whole '80s corny stuff that we were talking about. That's kind of cool.
I guess, but the little midget girl creeped me out.
I don't know about that
I'm sorry,
one.
little person.
Little
The
person.
She's from the Margaret Cho show.
I don't think I
little girl
saw
was in
that
the
one.
Margaret Cho
How many
show?
are there?
I believe it's the first one. It's the very first one. Because I don't think I saw any past the first one.
I don't remember.
Yeah, well, if you get a chance, look it up on YouTube. It's pretty creepy. Because when she was a kid, they do this thing where they actually like stretch your bones. And so they put you have to lay down in bed for like 6 months. And they slowly screw your bones apart so they grow. But in this poor girl's case, like she overdid it. So she has like her torso is like this big, but then it looks like she's on stilts and her arms are creepy long.
I totally don't remember that at all.
Oh, well, if you watch the Margaret Cho show, she's on there.
Okay.
I mean, nothing against her personally. It's just in that movie she creeped me out. In real life, she doesn't really creep me out.
Okay.
But in that movie, it was too much. Too much. So
Okay.
then there was the other one, The Orphan, which I actually liked. Have you seen that one?
The Orphan?
Yeah. It's
Is that new?
It's probably about 6 years old or so. Basically, they adopt this kid, and the kid starts killing people, and they find out that the kid is really from like Romania or something.
She's older. She's
a
like
little
32.
person. Yeah, she's like,
yeah, that's a pretty good one.
I don't know why every scary movie has a little person in it nowadays. That's like the.
Well, technically, that's a young girl.
Well, I guess it's been that way across the board because you had Troll, and you had the one with the girl from Firestarter, the little girl. She's grown out. Drew Barrymore, Cat's Breath, Cat's Eye.
Cat's Eye?
You never seen that?
I don't think so. Now, see, that's another thing. Like, people think that I go to all the conventions. They think that I've watched all the horror movies, and I haven't. Yeah. And even though that's my favorite type of movie to watch, I haven't watched a widespread. I don't have a widespread list of horror movies.
Right.
And maybe I have, but I also have a terrible memory.
Same here.
So I may have watched it, but I don't remember.
But my thing was, you remember Sammy Terry?
Oh, God,
That was like a huge thing with our family. So every Saturday night, and then they had Up All Night with Gilbert Godfrey. And who was the girl that was on Saturdays? I want to say Lisa something?
The blonde chick?
Yeah, big cans.
I don't
And then there was
remember.
Elvira. She had her Halloween special. And
I don't know, but
I watched a lot of TV growing up. And so
Sammy Terry, God, Sammy Terry. Sammy fucking Terry.
did he die now? He's dead now, right? He
Well,
passed
yeah,
away a
but
couple
you
years
have
ago.
Sammy Terry, the son of Sammy.
Oh, he's doing it now?
He's carried on the legacy.
Nice.
And, but yeah, Sammy Terry, God, every freaking Friday night. I live for Friday night just to watch Sammy Terry.
I couldn't tell you how many times when I was 8 to 10 years old that by 1 o'clock in the morning when the third one was on, I was horrified to go to sleep.
Oh, God. You know, I never was, really.
Really?
I never was. I mean, when I was like 4 or 5, that's when I started watching Sammy Terry. And I remember being terrified and curled up on the couch with under my mom's wing, you know. Excuse me. But after that, I think it was because that was new to me.
Yeah.
But once I started soaking it all in, I realized that, hey, I'm relating to this somehow because it doesn't scare the shit out of me. I enjoy it.
Well, for me when I was a kid, it was kind of like a roller coaster. Like I knew I was going to be too afraid to go to sleep,
Right.
but the excitement of watching it,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
overtook it until it was over and it was time for me to go to bed. I was scared shitless. But I'll tell you that one movie that actually did scare me the worst was Aliens, the second Alien movie.
Yeah.
After I watched that movie, every time I closed my eyes to go to sleep, I would see that alien mouth coming out of the other mouth. I couldn't close my eyes. I just laid there for like an hour and a half.
Okay, you want to know the one movie that really, like, literally scared me
Everybody's
to death?
got one. Let's hear it.
And it's not even a monster movie.
Really?
It's a movie, I believe, from the 70s, and I saw it in the 70s when I was young, called Grizzly. It's about a bear. It's about a big giant bear that kills people. That scared me to death because there's this one part where they go in this cabin to look for the guy, and you know they're looking for him, and blood drips on him, and they look up, and this bloody arm's hanging. Okay, it's nothing, you know. But I guess it was just because I was young enough, and that was probably one of the first movies that I saw that was bloody and gory. Scared the shit out of me, and I think that's the only thing that's really scared me, and it was a bear.
There was one I watched. We're running out of time, so we're gonna close this up soon. But
Okay.
there was one I watched when I was around 12 or 13. And if you went, you could go through a mirror and go into another dimension somehow.
Right. Yeah.
But people could also reach from that dimension through the mirror and grab you.
Yeah.
And I wasn't afraid when I was watching it. It was probably like later that night or the next morning, it occurred to me when I went to the bathroom, I could see myself in the mirror. And I was scared shitless to get close to the mirror. For like 2 weeks, I was afraid to get close to a mirror.
I think I know what movie you're talking about.
Yeah, that's my only real recollection of the movie. There's a newer one called Mirrors. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Where the guy's in a department store or something like that. This is the older one, way back in like 1981, 82, something like that.
Right.
And it really scared the shit out of me. But like I said, I don't remember the name of it. And then lastly, I have to ask you about this worst horror movie ever made. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. You can find it late night on TV sometimes still. There's this guy that has this giant fishing lure, and he's killing like naked teenage girls with it.
A fishing lure?
It's a fishing lure, but it's like this big, and it's got like razors and like drill bits and stuff hanging off of it. And then at the end of the movie, this kid finds out that this guy killed his dad, and so he has to kill the guy. But he doesn't just have to kill the guy; he has to kill him at his own game. So he like starts practicing casting his pole. And then, I swear to God, if you look on Google, you can find this movie. We were so messed up one night watching it, and then the next day we were all like, did that really happen? Or did we imagine that? But everyone at home, Scott, check it out. It's the most horrible movie ever.
It's got to be.
So we're going to wrap it up, guys. We're down here at the Red Lion Grog House. Come down here and check them out. Every Monday night's Pint Night. They've been nice enough to let us film here. Hopefully they'll be a sponsor soon. Take care. This is The Freak and the Geek. We're out.